Hi everyone, welcome to this GRC Connect event. I hope everyone's well today and that you're looking forward to the discussion that we're going to have. Today our chapter chair and expert panelists will be walking through how CISO has evolved and what this means. Thank you so much for joining us. So my name is Amelia and I'm an EMEA privacy analyst at OneTrust Data Guidance. I'm working here for nearly 2 years on content for various regions in EMEA, among other things. Our agenda today is quite simple. I will start with some housekeeping pieces, after which I will introduce our fantastic chapter chair and expert panelists, and we will launch into our panel discussion. I'd just like to spotlight as well that we will reserve time for a formal Q&A at the end. Therefore, we do encourage you to engage with us in the chat box on your screen. You do not have the option to unmute yourself as attendees, but we do encourage you to send over any questions, comments, or best practices that you have. The aim of these GRC Connects is to try and build a GRC Middle East thought community. So we do want to hear your thoughts, as this helps us in understanding what the priorities are for you right now. So feel free to say hello and introduce yourselves if you like, and send across anything throughout the webinar. My colleague Nathan and I will be on hand for any kind of technical questions as well. So I'd like to give a very special warm welcome to our chapter chair today. Without further ado, and our chapter chair is someone that we have as our boots on the ground in the jurisdiction that helps us connect with individuals such as yourselves. So Ahmed Javed is a cybersecurity strategist in the Middle East, and he has organised a fantastic session for you today. So as well, as I mentioned, we're working to build and maintain local communities of privacy professionals. And in order to facilitate this, you can join the discussion in our dedicated LinkedIn community for Middle East content and for GRC Connects. In these communities, you can keep in touch with us. This can be before, during, or after the events as well. And you can stay up to date with our next GRC Connect events and our GRC related content. So you can join these LinkedIn communities by following the link in the resources section to the left of your screen. And one final piece. Now you should see a poll question on your slides. I will leave this up for a little minute and talk through some of the options to give you all a chance to respond. As a little bit of context, as part of us making these GRC Connect events free, we also ask you to evaluate whether you are interested in learning more about OneTrust and some of our free resources as well that are relevant to the event that we have today. So firstly, you can receive an infographic from us. We can email this across to you, and this particular one is titled 5 Ways to Scale GRC. Secondly, we can send across, again via email, our ebook on understanding the impact of IT risk in your organization. And you can also opt into both of the above, or of course none of the above if you prefer. And then our final option is if you would just like to speak to a member of our team about any questions that you have about today, about the webinar, or about the OneTrust products in general. So I'll just give you a couple more seconds and then we'll move on. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so today Ahmed, our lovely chapter chair, is joined by Dr. Rima Al-Shamari, and she's the Digital Transformation Leader of Corporate Solutions and Digital Oil Fields in the Kuwait Oil Company. So Dr. Reem is a global thought leader in cybersecurity and digital transformation with more than 2 decades of experience. And she has led significant changes to the maturity of cybersecurity and technology in the energy sector, which is closely linked to Kuwait's national cybersecurity posture and, as I mentioned, the digital oil fields transformation journeys. So she is the founding partner and board member of Women in Cybersecurity Middle East, with over 1,000 members across the region. Having a number of academic and professional degrees such as engineering, MBA, PhD, and Harvard Business School's executives program. This helps her bring a great balance of technical and management skills to her current leadership role as a CISO. So she represents her country in a number of regional and global programs and forums, and she's recognized as an innovator and a wildcard who continues to push the envelope to get to the most optimum outcome on an initiative or a project. In addition to being an award winner in various global, regional, and national accolades, she's a very active contributor to cybersecurity community, and she promotes collaboration as stronger together. And she's also a judge in various global prestigious awards and a TEDx and keynote speaker in national, regional, and international forums. She has also contributed heavily in academia, including PhD research and MIT Review article interviews. She's also a member in the World Economic Forum's program on cyber resilience in oil and gas. And also she's recently done a TEDx talk titled Let Your Passion Lead the Way, to inspire others to follow their dreams. And she is a true inspiration to a number of young women to strive for more. And she strongly believes that when any woman rises, we all rise as women along with her. So that's a lovely message for us to start with. So thank you very much, everyone, to take the time to join us today. And I'm going to pass over to Ahmed now to begin the session.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Amelia. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Very warm good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone, all the participants. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Ahmed, as Amelia introduced. Today, what we'll be discussing about the evolution of this CISO, the Chief Information Security Officer role, which is one of the top demanding and challenging roles today. As we know from our highly accelerated paced technological evolution which we are facing in the past couple of decades, the need of securing our information assets, technology infrastructure, critical infrastructure, and personally identifiable information is being increased day by day. And the challenges of a CISO is growing day by day as well because of the increased complexity within technology infrastructure, because of lack of skilled resources and the constraints, and on top of it, the rapid pace of technological transformation as well. So coming to the main agenda of the discussion today, first of all, I would like to highlight that the need of information security is getting bigger and bigger because of not only the global transformation pace, as well as the local, domestic, or regional geopolitical situation, and of course, being oil and gas hub of the world globe. I mean, it has been observed that we have faced like an increased number of cyber attacks and to our critical infrastructure and to the government infrastructure and so on. So that is why, today discussion will bring you all that, the tips and techniques and the relevant guidance which CISOs today should follow in order to come up with an effective cybersecurity plan and roadmap to execute, as well as what characteristics or the personality traits a CISO should hold, regardless of being of any gender or considering the local domestic cultural challenges to fit into that role. So I warm welcome Dr. Reem today, who is a personality of a well-known cybersecurity field, and she has a proven experience in this space. Very warm welcome to you, Dr. Reem.
Thank you so much, Abu Abdurrahman, for your wonderful introduction, and thank you, Amelia, for this amazing introduction. And I really thank the GRC Connect Middle East chapter for their invitation, and I'm very much interested and looking forward to our interesting discussion, which you have said just 2 minutes ago. It will have full of surprises, so I'm looking forward.
Indeed, indeed. So just to directly, before any further delay, jumping on the core point, would you just share your viewpoint on how the business leaders today look into the information security? How would you define as a business leader what is information security in your opinion?
Excellent question. And with the recent transformation, even in my role from a CISO to a digital transformation leader, I'm now looking at that from this perspectives. But of course, I have that bias of being a CISO, so I have my full understanding of the cybersecurity role and actually the contribution and partnership that is required from their side. From business leaders or business owners side in an organization, there's a stereotype where information security are seen as sometimes showstoppers or delayers to proceed forward. And as you have mentioned at the beginning of your opening, that with the accelerated transformations happening all around the world in all sectors, not only in the energy sector, the requirements of cybersecurity has become more and more vital and critical. And thus, the agile and resilience role that our cybersecurity teams should be playing became now at the forefront and no longer seen as an IT imperative that is there at the corner or even at the lower levels. So for business owners, they need and they see with the right implication from the cybersecurity roles being carried out and hats being worn as a partners. And this is what I'm trying to promote here within our organization, at least, and our sector, that cybersecurity here are the partners of the digital transformation journey along with the business owners and business leaders. Without such partnership, Abdurrahman, the success to reach to a secure and safe digitally transformed environment won't be achievable at all, because it takes two to tango, and it takes the business owners and the cybersecurity collaboration and partnership to actually reach to that environment where we need the full collaboration and full trust and transparency from both sides. So when I was, let's say, transformed into this role, our leadership have seen that this digital transformation initiatives and projects and journeys will be very critical if the cybersecurity is not embedded within the fabric of its, within its fabric and being looked at the very early stages. So they have trusted me that to play that role of leading this digital transformation with the cybersecurity, mindset. So they are like hitting two birds with one stone, because they can trust that I will be delivering that and looking and considering the cybersecurity at the same time. And this is what I am telling all our people in cyber, that you need always to put the two hats of being the cyber defender and being the cyber enabler or the business partner in that digital transformation. This is how our business should be looking at it, and this is how we as cybersecurity should be acting in order to put the new, look and feel for our cybersecurity teams within our organization in today's accelerated transformations.
Indeed, when you have highlighted multiple important points, which we'll be discussing in detail going forward. First of all, the most important point, which are aspect of driving an effective cybersecurity program, you have highlighted a very important aspect of it, like it has to be strategically aligned with the digital transformation strategy. But apart from that, I would like to just bring into the core reason, the rationale behind that, why we need to run or have the effective cybersecurity program as part of our digital transformation strategy, which is the importance. And the cybersecurity initiatives being part of our resilience programs are more important. So how do you see, as a business leader now, the importance of a cybersecurity program having in the organization?
I can believe, especially in the energy sector, cybersecurity have not only the let's say logical or digital arm where they can really impact the data. It can have a physical arm actually to compromise the safety of our staff when it comes to the OT systems and OT environment. Compromising or have cybersecurity incidents within the OT can have a cyber arm where it physical cyber armor can really compromise these matters. And this for health and safety and environmental organization, corporate like KOC, where this is falls at the very top. Today, the business leaders and business, even our leadership, the top leadership, look and consider cybersecurity now very important because of the impact that can now go beyond just data leakage or beyond loss of data. It can also be leading to a loss of human lives or impacting their human lives and safety when these incidents actually tackles the safety systems in OT environments or even compromise the maintenance systems. And we have seen that happening in our region in the energy sector with some of the neighbor colleagues and peers. So it is very important. It is very crucial. And like I have just earlier said, we can do a digital transformation journey, but without doing the rightful cybersecurity measures, which aligns closely with the strategical direction, we might reach to our successful transformation. But if any risks are there and that were not mapped, the implications and the impact will be catastrophic, whether it was from financial aspects or, as we have said, from safety aspects. That's why now businesses have become very much aware of that, with seeing the enormous rise in the percentage of the cyber attacks during this past year, especially also with the incremental rise of supply chain attacks that is really impacting many entities across the globe. And you can see also the highly sophisticated nation-state attacks where threat actors are targeting critical infrastructure entities, and our oil companies are seen and categorized as NCIs, National Critical Infrastructure Entities, where really the income and the economy of the whole nation can be disrupted. So cybersecurity is now seen, at least within the energy sector, as a pillar to these digital transformation, to these business leaders, to ensure that they build that partnership, secure their business, to secure their applications, and to ensure that they will have a cyber continuity and a business continuity to their plans when they merge and, let's say, align the cyber security resilience with the operationals and business resilience as well, as one entity eventually.
Very interesting, I would say, because there are several challenges and several initiatives as part of the digital transformation which needs to be integrated in a manner that a really smooth blend has to come to achieve the organizational objectives of resilience, digital transformation, and of course the business value which is being produced through the effort which has been put in by the business operations. But coming back to the main thing, behind this all that effort and strategic alignment, of course there is a very strong mechanisms in any organization which is being followed to run a smooth operations. Now, when we come to within the context of information security, from your experience, how would you see, in the past, how the information security activities being performed in your organization and within the oil and gas sector? And what is the difference today, and what more improvements can be brought?
Excellent question. As you know, it's a journey. And the way these activities and these operations tackles, as they mature, they actually plays different roles. And throughout our journey, we can see that information security were first with the DevOps as an ownership, then with formulating the cybersecurity team and having that governance entity under the umbrella of the information security, and also the operations of Security Operations Center and threat management goes under the ownership and accountability of the cybersecurity team, along with having the risk assessment for all of these coming projects under that, with the addition, of course, building your awareness of your people and your culture. So having these four main pillars within the information security and maturing it as we move on have given the the ownership of specific entities, the cybersecurity or information security team, to be able to address all of these initiatives and put the roadmap and, let's say, projects and activities into action with the support of the respective business owners, with the support of the respective leadership, whenever this comes. And this way, when you formulate this information security teams, and as they mature in their operations and in their, let's say, responsibilities, it comes along with that the support that you can see it more present, the recognition and awareness from your other peers in the organization itself, and then you can address the people, process, technologies within that same maturity journey. So you're maturing in your operations and your coverage and responsibility as you have now more visibility to your assets. And we know that one of the main aspects of cybersecurity is to have detection and visibility of your assets management in order for you to secure. You cannot secure what you cannot see. And then you have your processes where, as I have said, there's governance now being built clearly. There's support from the leadership. There's KPIs being put not only on the staff and, let's say, employees levels. It's being put at the very high levels of our CEOs and our executives to support and, let's say, increase the awareness around the whole company and around the whole sector. Then it comes the people, and what the people were saying is that we are building a culture through these awareness programs, and again comes under the operational information security, where we're building the culture of having a cyber-aware organization, and this will only come with putting in place a very, flexible, attractive, a continually updated methods and mechanism and materials of awareness that you keep attracting your audience to know more about their cybersecurity and the risk and all of that. A couple of days ago, Abdurrahman, one of the, let's say, our users who's a peer and a team leader, he was sharing that he has received some spam message on his mobile. Then he has followed it with a very wonderful comment saying, it will be shame on us, Dr. Reem, that we fall for this type of scams after the full efforts your team has put into raising our awareness. And at that moment, I have realized that receiving such feedback from our users is really on the right track of creating a cyber-aware organization. We're not only letting them becoming our defenders, first-line defenders in our organization, but we're making them even a more cyber-aware, even within their homes, within their personal device and their personal information. So what we're building within our organization and making these staff and these employees cyber-aware is actually impacting their whole lives and hopefully passing the same knowledge to their families and their societies. I hope this answers your question.
No, indeed. I mean, it's a very, in a short time, you have explained the whole plethora of information security functions and how it should be defined, how it should work. But considering the aspects we have highlighted, we have to have information security governance, which needs to, of course, strategically work on strategically alignment with the technology and the business strategic direction. On the other side, we have to run the security operations for the day-to-day routine, the efforts in order to mitigate the risks, cyber attacks. We need to detect and prevent from sort of malicious activities within, inside, and so on. And in addition to that, we need to have a proper, a role of security architects as well, which can basically aid into address, I would say, the security aspects of digital transformation program. Now, coming to my next question is when keeping all this in mind, it's quite an extensive suite of activities which needs to be performed in order to protect the organization technology infrastructure. In your opinion, how do you see that? would this whole activities can be summed up into a one person role as a role, or do we need to have a need to define a function within the organization as an information security function? But if so, do we need a proper leader to lead this, plethora of activities in a more systematic and mechanical way? How would you say about that?
There are many points and many perspectives on that aspect. I mean, even for the CISO role, there has been some discussion that it should not be a CISO, only it should be a CISO, where he should be responsible for the physical security along with the digital security. But at least let's look at the digital security for now, and let's build that maturity there and make sure that the governance around that role is very clearly when it comes to maturity, when it comes to reporting, and when it comes to the empowerment and the leverage and roles and responsibilities for that one. So when, from my own perspective and the way I have led that it's not about playing the role of only a governance and just give the recommendations and it's their full responsibility, those business owners, to take the risk or not. It is our role to fully explain these risks to our partners of business owners and to actually give them other alternatives, as you have rightfully mentioned, Abdurrahman, that we have these cyber security architects that looks at these technologies, look at these solutions, and if there are like some vulnerabilities in the proposed solutions, our architects will give alternatives. So we should not say, no, this is not allowed. We should always say, this has a high risk, and this is the alternative for you that can also fulfill your requirements and still be safe to be addressed. And this cannot be done without the, as you have mentioned, the skills and the area of the cybersecurity architects and solutions risk assessment unit where we have it there. So again, back to your question about having that governance, having that lead, it is needed to be under the cybersecurity team. And as we move on, again, the maturity and reporting on all of that, it will again change. Today, it might be reporting to the CIO. Tomorrow, when it rise to a certain maturity, it can report to the risk officer, CRO. And then it might later on, at a very mature stage, can report to the CEO, or he becomes at the board level as well. So it's a journey, and it's maturity-wise. It should not be, there is no size fits all, not at all. I believe in each company, each organization have their own business requirements, have their own culture, have their own maturity challenges that they really need to understand, and accordingly they fit and match what is really fits them best. Because I have seen in some cases that where they haven't been mature enough and they were like reporting to the CEO, and this just overloaded the CEO because they were still talking in operational language, and the CEO were very much overwhelmed with all of the feedback being received from the CISO to that executive level. So it shouldn't be the case, and shouldn't be one size fits all. We need to look closely on the governance aspects and change them. Should not be constant. I'm always with the enhancement and continuous enhancement. So we will be always agile and, let's say, flexible to change and adjust and update our reporting, according to our maturity and according to the skills being developed and, let's say, enhanced with the growth of our information security. So we started with the unit, then we have a full team now with, as I said, the full areas, and we might also grow to have the more exposure and more maturity where we can report directly to the board.
No, very, very beautifully said, Mina. By agreeing with your comment on the thing, like, we need to have, it's not, first of all, it's not a one-time activity, it's a journey. And with having a proper governance framework implemented, it's not enough that having effective processes implemented. We need to have a strong leadership where, which basically align with the strategic, align with the strategic direction of the organization, can sit with the board members, understand the governance mechanisms and needs, so that we can transform the operation to align with that. So since you have highlighted a very important aspect of this leadership side of the role or the information function, which is generally being referred as a CISO. So Dr. Im, how do you see, like, a CISO being a human? Of course, when everyone have its own, as you rightly said, like, there's a plus and minus. Not everyone is perfect. So there's a people side of it. So how do you see, like, what leadership characteristics or the personality traits a CISO should hold to run that function effectively, in your opinion?
The CISO role is one of the most critical leadership roles in a company. And this comes not because only the leadership responsibility that he needs to, he's needing or he's answering for all the security aspects and the safety of the systems and within, let's say, our energy sector, but because he's also leading a team of people, and the type of cybersecurity operations, the nature of our field in cybersecurity is overwhelming. And whenever everyone is very much sometimes at certain occasions, at the relaxed mode, you will see that cybersecurity is actually at the peak mode. And there's no better example than the COVID-19. During the COVID-19, there was the work at many areas became very much, at a low, frequency. People became working from remotely at a very much lower, let's say, utilization. However, for us as information security, we were working at above the peaks because that, COVID or that pandemic has requested or required many enablement of many technologies for remote access and pushing our perimeter from the physical perimeter of our firewalls to our employees' homes and routers. So we were there around the clock assessing, putting the measures, putting the controls to ensure that everything is being taken care of. And mind that, Abdurrahman, that was during a very hard and difficult circumstances where people were looking at a pandemic, and so their psychological state was also, not balanced for the whole globe. And you're requesting them to work not only at normal pace, you're requesting them to go beyond the limits because we're like under the heat at these stages. For a CISO to be able to, give the safe place for his people and to, as much as he can, let them, protect them from the burnout that is very much frequent happening in our field. He needs to look at the human aspect. He needs to be an empathetic leader. He needs to tap on them as people, as humans, and start, connecting that. This will, not only enable him to perform his tasks, not only let his employees feel safe and share with him their thoughts, he will also be enabling them to go and fully utilize their potentials and even deliver more and above. And I have seen that, I have witnessed that with the number of our employees and team members, we were able to perform and deliver achievements and contributions that were very, very much high than other similar bigger teams in size. So it's never about the quantity, it's about always the quality. If you have a good leader that looks at you as a human and looks at you as an officer and matches both and become there when you need him as a human, and he taps with you as a friend, checks on you, and there was so very frequent check-ins with our people during the pandemic to make sure that they are well, their families are well. Many of them were, they were stranded where their families were in their countries, and they were stranded here within Kuwait. So we need to touch that base in order for them to feel, psychological balance, to know that we understand, we appreciate, and we're all together in that aspect. So for a CISO, it's not only looking at the numbers, looking at the KPMs and making sure that he's doing and implementing all of these milestones, initiatives, projects successfully. He's also meeting all the KPIs and all the SLAs that are required within his Security Operations Center and all of that. No, he needs also to look at the human aspect, because it's leading is not only about becoming manager, because I always look at the manager versus the leader, and I believe in CISO role we should be very much away from the manager style, and we should be very close to a leader style and lead by example, with being empathetic, with being compassionate, especially in the cybersecurity field.
Impressive. And I don't have any second opinion in terms of agree by saying, like, you have not left me with any option other than agreeing with all of your points. From a leadership characteristics, a CISO or any of the true leaders should hold. And then you have very beautifully summarized that whole characteristics, the suite of the personality traits which at least leadership cabinet or the leaders should hold. But Dr. Eamon, from a recent past, especially like because of the pandemic, there was an increased, the number of cyber attacks, and there was a lot of enhanced pressure was built on the top of CISO's head. So if we compare this role and the current situation of, around the globe, CISOs have been observed as remain under the very high pressurized situations, because it's very challenging. We are dealing with the very sensitive situations under so much of pressure, and because the organization reputation, confidentiality of information, financial frauds or whatever is completely coming on our heads as a CISOs. Do you think, like, when a strong, the personality a CISO should have in terms of, sustaining that pressure and the stress as well? How would you like to comment about this whole thing?
Okay, not just to add action to what you have said, for many of the corporate CISOs, the impacts are there, as you have mentioned, is when it comes to financial, confidentiality, and all of that. But when we, for a CISO on the energy sector, on the OT, electricity and all of that, in addition to all of these worries that keep him up at night, there's also the safety of humans and people's lives. So this is one of the main things as a majority for me, to secure always and do our best efforts to secure the OT environment, because of it can really compromise people's lives and always keep us awake. So we are obliged to be strong. And being strong doesn't mean we're not being human. We are human. And because of our humanity is really what makes us rock in our role, and what really makes us, achieve in our role. Without that humanity aspect, that makes us so much worried, not about our job title or not about our position as CISO, about the human lives that can be compromised, that can be tackled, or can be, put at risk if these systems are not being under the visibility of your security operation system. If these operators at the fields are not fully aware of their of the cyber risks that can really be endangered when he injects a USB that he saw it, just falling around, or if a USB he took it from, let's say, an exhibition outside, etc. So one of the things we have done is that we have created campaigns that connects the three H's: the head, the heart, and the hands of of our staff. And that concept, we took it from and learned from Professor Linda Hill in Harvard, where she said, if you really want these people to become your cyber defenders, to become your cyber champions, you need to get these three H's together. So at the OT specifically, Abdurrahman, what we have done, that we have made them very much aware of the threat vector that we as an NCI, National Critical Infrastructure Entity, are being under. And we make them very much aware of the history of OT attacks and the implications and what impacts that has been endured, and it's not just about a keyboard and a mouse. Many people think that cybersecurity is just an IT thing, and that it won't even go beyond a mouse and keyboard. So what we have done, that we have put a full campaign, making them fully understand in their heads the threat, vector, make them very much aware about the impacts, that if you really become reluctant, you might not only endanger your life and your safety, you will endanger your colleagues that are there day and night with you. So we got their hearts, and then they were very much concerned, what can we do? And this is where the hands will start working. So if we were not passionate, human enough to think this way, we wouldn't be able to do all of these. So yes, we need to be strong, and we need to be human at the same time to be able to deliver effectively and efficiently. I can deliver the numbers. I can, fulfill the KBMs and, successfully implement these projects. But did we build that cyber, culture? Did we build that cyber-aware organization? Because, Abdurrahman, that we can invest in millions in building our, fort around our castle. But it takes only one person mistake to open that door in that castle and let the whole, threat actors comes in. So we need to always tackle the human aspect, the people, along with the process and technology, all together. And I believe there were some questions saying which one should be stronger, the governance and the GRC or the technologies. It all fits together, where you need to integrate them strongly, where you need really to tackle them very carefully to ensure that you get the best outcomes. So just to sum up, a CISO needs to be very much strong, but he's human, and it's okay. We fall into burnouts. So I fall into burnouts, and I'm not ashamed from saying that, because I know that my humanity has enabled me to deliver a lot, has enabled me to become a good, empathetic leader to my people. And it is also, have human skills and have the human, weaknesses, where we fall under burnout and we need to disconnect and then reconnect again. So it's okay to acknowledge this, humanity aspect of us as a strong portion within our characters and our delivery, and as being also aware of the weaknesses, that we can tackle it by maintaining the balance, by taking days off, by disconnecting whenever we feel the pressure is up, and having our deputies to take in our place during that absence.
Very interesting, and I would say when you have very beautifully articulated those key points and the tips and the guidelines how to manage, the pressure situations, and coming back to the main point here is, which I would like to emphasize, that we have highlighted the key aspect of this, sustaining this challenging situations in a very highly, toxic environments, which is basically exercising the empathy, engaging with the people, being human aspect of it, develop your relations stronger. Apart from the, the corporate or organizational or operational challenges which we have, which is very stressful. So from one aspect is like, the CISO should be able to handle his stress, manage, effectively. On the other side, he should exercise the empathy with his team members, being human, being a positive leader. He should be available and set an example for them. So from considering this thing, how you being the globally known personality of, the advocate of women being in the cybersecurity field, how do you see ladies fitting into this role? Because these are generally considered that the woman cannot handle that much of stress, and a lot of myth or misunderstandings are there. Would you kindly help us removing those or clearly understanding those, what are the misunderstandings, and how do you see about that, the positive contribution of women into this field?
Excellent question. And being the founder of our Women Cybersecurity Middle East group, where we have more than 1,000 members, from rising stars in high school up to executives and in energy, in government, academia sectors. I can say that that statement of women, might have question marks when they lead or they get involved in cybersecurity. This is no longer the fact, or no longer, at all stands still, because many of my colleagues, not only me, have proven the success that women can add to this community. And we are all aware, Abdurrahman, of the huge shortage in resources and skills within our community that is being announced even globally, that will be exceeding millions of available and let's say vacant posts that will not have any skills to be to fulfill it. And so tapping on our women capabilities, building these women capabilities to help us in reducing that shortage is a must. And what we have seen throughout the years, and she can take me as an example, and many other leading women in, again, leading CISO roles in the energy sector. In the Middle East, I was the first CISO in the energy sector that leads the biggest oil company in Kuwait. And also I have friends that is leading one of the largest banks and fintechs in Egypt. And we have many other CISOs, women who has played that role. This just shows you that without such leadership trust and without such performance and effectiveness in getting the maturity of these organizations under that leadership has really proven. So I'm not very much, preferring to specify it, as you have just mentioned at the beginning, to a gender. It's actually to the skills of that leader, whether it was a woman or a male. It takes what does this leader have to make it happen? What does this human have within his skills, within his characters, within his genuinity, the inspiration to get these followers and these team members give above and beyond. Our slogan in our team was to give above and beyond, always and forever. And that's what enabled a very small team to deliver, serve the company itself, serve the whole sector itself, and serve at a regional and global levels as well, by showing the contributions and all of that. And that was done with the team efforts, with the collaboration, and with leading by a leader, irrespective of whether it was female or male. We have done that, and women and myself doing such achievement in the oil sector, where I was the leader of the cybersecurity committee of the oil and gas within Kuwait, and also representing the oil and gas sector in a regional committee as well as contributing in World Economic Forum for Cyber Resilience. This can give you a very live example that women can achieve, women can deliver because they are passionate in their commitment, and they will always add diversity to the content. They will all add additional colors to that painting. So we're not saying men versus women. We're saying men plus women to get the full outcomes from that cybersecurity, roles, operations, contributions, have that, full integration and full balance between the two. Because this is how we work, and our Women in Cyber has proven amazing success stories, and the new generation are, have so many promising talents and amazing passion that they overwhelm us, that I have seen just recently in the United Nations ITU Women in Cyber Mentorship. I was a mentor there, and I was just dazzled by the amount of learning, because I believe that mentorship is always a two-way. I learn from my mentees, and they might learn something from me. But I was dazzled from the amount of learning that I have sensed and experienced from these young mentees. They were and all of them are women, they were very much passionate, they were very much committed, and they were creative, and to deliver and make that cybersecurity community thrives and become more richer. So the addition of women in this field is spectacular. The achievements talks for themselves, And I believe having more women and to closing and helping to close the gap will for sure make our societies and communities better, as we will always have the diversity and perspectives and supporting it with the better skills and for insights as well.
Thank you so much for such a detailed and a strong message for our women leaders to encourage them to come on board and take this, leadership roles. I mean, they have definitely proven themselves as one of the best, I wouldn't say more effective, I would say, leaders in this space, because they are more, in my opinion, if I share with you here, is they are more connecting. They can, women can exercise the empathy in a much better way as compared to the man. But you have beautifully mentioned this point, is that it's not men versus women, it's men with women, and of course it's a joint team to take the initiatives forward. I mean, very, very beautifully said. Thank you so much, Dr. Reem. And I'll just, we are heading towards the end of our session. So before we jump into the question and answer session, then I would like to request that if the takeaway message you would like to the CISOs today, or the participants we have, that mean what message they should take back to their organizations in order to develop this function effectively and lead this function with a very effective and strong skill set.
Excellent. So I'll summarize them just for the sake of time, give space for others to ask, with three main takeaways. First thing is that you need to believe in your mission, believe in yourself, and believe why am I doing this? Why am I in cybersecurity? You need to really love what you're doing. You need to connect to that aspect of, worrying about the people at the asset, about the people at the progress, and making sure that this is a mission, and becoming really a cyber defender, not only, an officer that is trying to do his work. This is first. So believe in yourself, and then try to ask always, be curious in your role, how I can go and how can I enhance more. So always ask, be curious, and don't stop asking, what's the next step? How can I always improve? Don't stay where you are, because in cybersecurity, the threats are always emerging and they are maturing. The styles are being always sophisticated day by day. So you need always to keep up and ensure that you will always be on a learning mode. So again, my second thing, when you become curious, you need to enable your learning mode, whether you have certificates or not, whether you have, I've reached too hard for it, but till today, I keep learning, and my resources are open from mentees, from my colleagues, from my peers, from my partners, from the vendors, all of them. I keep my eyes and ears very much, an active listening mode and learning mode as well. So keep your learning mode there, believe in yourself, and at the end, be genuine. So when you become genuine in your mission, you will get the trust from all your network, from the business owners, from your leadership, and they will trust you with your roles and support you with the required budget, required resources, required tools that enable you to do your mission. So be genuine, keep on learning, and believe in yourself. These are my three takeaways.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reem. It has been an immense pleasure for us hosting you and having such a lovely talk with you, and we learned a lot mutually. And as I practice and preach, that we learn from each other. So that's why there's quite a lot we have learned from yourself, from your experience. And I would like to thank you as a chair of the GRC Connect Middle East. For the participants who have attended, and please do spread across the word. Please do join the community and encourage other your team members within your organizations and within your professional circle. Please join our community. Let's grow it together. Let's work it together. Cybersecurity is the passion today, and let's live it together. So with this, admin, I'll just give it back to Amelia. And thank you so much, Amelia, for supporting us on this event.
Fantastic. Yeah, that is unfortunately coming up to all the time we have today. Thank you so much, Dr. Reem and Ahmed, for sharing all of your expertise with us, and in such a dynamic discussion. You added so much detail. Yeah, there's so much I'm going to take away from your discussion today. I personally find it quite inspiring, and I love the overarching themes of emphasizing the human aspect with cybersecurity operations and systems. Specifically, what you said about I wrote down, well, we need to be strong and we need to be human at the same time to deliver effectively and efficiently. I think that's really powerful to think about. Some final, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. So some final housekeeping points before we close out. If you didn't have the chance to respond earlier, the poll is again on your screens if you would like to make the best of our free resources. So the infographic on GRC and 5 ways to scale. And then also our ebook on understanding the impact of IT risk in your organization. And just in case anyone is wondering, the recording will be made available to all attendees and anyone who registered as well. So this will be available via the LinkedIn community page for GRC Connects, which you can join in the resources section to your left. And I also want to highlight that there is a short survey at the end of the webinar that we would really appreciate if you could stay online to respond to. And this is just about the technical side of the event, if you had any issues with the technical side or anything like that. So this just gives us a clear idea of this and allows us to prevent any reoccurrences in the future. So also feel free to reach out directly to us via email. And then finally, one final thanks to our listeners for joining, and of course to our wonderful chapter chair and Dr. Reem as well. So I hope everyone has a great week ahead, and that we see you again soon or next quarter.
Thank you everyone. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.